Good evening, Vancouver, and welcome back to a special Sunday edition of Canucks After Dark. Hope you're all doing well. As always, joined by my co-host, rarely on Sunday, Canuck Clay. How are you doing today, Clay?
Parker, I am great. Yes, this is a little bit different. I'm back to my original horrible fisheye webcam, but as long as I guess as long as people can hear me, that's the more important thing. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's an audio experience with a hint of sound as well. Or
Yes, yes.
video as well. I don't know. This is the least prepared I think we've ever been for Canucks After Dark. It's an off
And
day.
and that's saying something for me.
It we I was saying before the show, it was like I'm basically playing Clay's role today of coming in unprepared, but he's also playing that role. So we're in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah,
We initially planned for this episode to be Tuesday because we both have hockey tomorrow,
yeah,
separate teams, but same day.
yeah.
So we planned to do it on Tuesday, and then Clay texted me on the weekend, like, "Hey, can we do it Sunday instead?" I'm like, "Sure." And then I got home late, and we have nothing ready, nothing prepared, no topics. So we're gonna fly blind. We're gonna get your guys' help in the chat, but I think we're just gonna have a fun. There's not really much news or anything to talk about, so I think we're just gonna have a fun Sunday evening
Yeah, I think the biggest
chat.
news is we should greet Shannon, one of our very loyal viewers, a happy birthday today. So Shannon, happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Parker will now sing to you.
Uh, nope, I won't. But I appreciate your offer, but I
Okay,
will
yeah.
decline.
But Shannon, in all seriousness, thank you for your support, both on our individual channels and here. We appreciate you very much, and we hope you had a very blessed day.
Absolutely. Um, yeah, so we've got a great show for you tonight. Canuck Clay is here. I'm here. Do we want to talk? Is there anything Canucks to talk about off the bat? There was some very basic. Oh, Kevin Bieksa might want to retire a Canuck,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which he wanted to do like 2 years ago, maybe, and that might happen. What are your thoughts on the whole 1-day contract to retire thing? Because I know some people are weirdly against it, and some people are weirdly like for it, like aggressively
Yeah.
in either direction.
The fact that Parker, when you say that to me, and when I read about it on the weekend, it didn't really stir up honestly anything in me. There was certainly no part of me that says, "Oh, this is a bad idea," but because it was the Canucks and because I like Bieksa and so many good memories, despite the fact that he blocked me on Twitter, but that's for another story. I also was not like, "Oh yeah, this has got to happen. I can't wait." So I'm kind of in the middle, the mushy middle of I don't care really either way. Maybe because it's a Vancouver thing, it'd be nice. I think it'd be a cool story for sure. Give us something to talk about. Give us
Yeah,
another walk down memory lane. But to me, I'm not sentimental that way. So when I see it happen for other teams, I don't really think much of it. How about you?
yeah, I think I like it, right? Obviously, I think it's a nice sentimental thing. Those are good.
Yeah.
It happens a lot more in football than it does in hockey,
Yeah.
right? The whole
Yeah.
1-day contract thing, you see it all the time. But that would be nice. But they're not going to have like a ceremony or anything, right? They
Hmm.
might have like at a game next year him in the press box and say happy retirement or something, right? But I think that'll probably be it. But it's a nice story.
It
Um,
is. It is. Did you like him?
Lucas,
Did you? Oh, sorry. Of
I just
course.
want to mention Lucas with the super chat. Thank you. We're going to use what you said here. I'm not going to read it yet. We're going to use it as a topic. Thank you. We needed
Awesome.
help.
Awesome. Did you like
We will
BX?
get to that.
Yes. Thank you, Lucas. Did you like BX when he was here?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's great.
He was
He's a
good.
team guy. Great, great Superman puncher. Uh, yeah. I mean, he scored one of the biggest goals we've ever had here, which is always
Yeah.
nice as well. One of the wackiest goals too.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, he was always a bit of a favorite of mine for sure.
Only because we have the time tonight. Can I give you the 45-second story of how he blocked me on Twitter?
Sure. Let's hear
Okay,
it.
well, yeah. Since I asked you, you're obviously going to say yes. Okay, or maybe you might not. Did a song, me, Marie, Ariel, so all stars. My friend Joseph and his wife Marion, also two very good vocalists. I was the weak link, but we did Boys to Men. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. A very nice a cappella song, and it was basically talking about BXL leaving, Eddie Lack leaving, and then when it was on July 1 that we were recording upstairs in a very hot room, stuffy room, and then they also announced July 1 free agency. It wasn't free agency, but they traded Zach Cassian as well. They actually broke that news while we were recording. So we made our song about it's so hard to say goodbye to Zach, Kevin, and Eddie. And then it got some good love, decent love on social media. And the next thing I know, Kevin BX had blocked me on
Yeah.
Twitter. So I don't know if he didn't like my singing to him or if he didn't like, honestly, who knows? But part of me thinks that he didn't like because I stupidly tagged him right when I shared the video. Maybe he didn't like but those guys get so many mentions. I'm sure they have people I'm sure some of them have people handling their their accounts. All to say, BX blocked me. And as you introduce the next topic, I'm going to look to see if I'm still blocked by him. Actually,
You're holding the grudge. You're going after Kevin BX. You're gonna take him down.
Yeah, usually I don't hold a grudge, and then it's very sweet. Like some once in a while. Oh no, I'm not blocked anymore. Awesome.
There you go.
Yeah, once in a while, someone will, when I bring up that story, they'll actually tag Kevin and say, "Why would you block Canuck Clay?"
That's a bit much.
It is, and then he blocks me again. So I'm never in a cycle.
Yeah, fair enough.
There we go.
Any other Canucks news from this week? They didn't sign Newton in, but we knew that was happening last week. There was a Henrik Sedin article, but
I got one. Bruce Boudreau, 12th in Jack Adams voting. Too high, too low, or about right?
There were some people who were like surprised he got any votes, and they're like, "Wow, yeah, a cap team won some hockey games." But I was like, "Yeah, the Jack Adams is which team did better than expected, right? That's really what it ends up being. That's why guys like John Cooper haven't sniffed the Jack Adams yet, when he should be a lock for at least one. You'd think.
Yes.
So I think it was, there was a couple. I think it was a couple local guys, and then one national guy who had voted for him, which I think is fair, right? A couple votes doesn't matter. He wasn't going to win it if they didn't make the playoffs. So I thought that was, it's fine.
Yeah. And speaking of a couple of votes, they Patrice Bergeron won his 5th Selkie award today, and Bo Horvat got 1 5th place vote, and it was from Ben Kuzma.
He got as many votes. Like he's not a Selkie candidate.
Like 5th best in the entire NHL.
Yeah, and JT Miller got what, 2 4th place votes?
He did.
Yeah,
not from local media.
Yeah. I'm I'm just reading the Reddit comments to it, and it's people are just laughing at it basically.
That Horvat got a vote, you mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah. One of the guys says Petey's much better than both, which is kind of fair, especially like even defensively. So yeah, I mean, it's Bergeron's to win basically every year. You look at the analytics, like the micro stats that show his defensive game, and it's ridiculous. He's just off the charts in every metric. So he'll just keep winning it until he doesn't. 5 is crazy.
It's nuts. Maybe you and I should petition or bucket list to be on the NHL professional writer, hockey writers, PHWA.
Yeah, that would be probably tough, but we can try.
You can do it. You're good.
I think there was nothing else that was Canucks related. So do we want to go to some NHL stuff? Let's go to Luke's super chat. $5 super chat saying the Tempe arena vote happened. The vicious Coyotes fans on social media. So I want to talk about this because the Coyotes met with Tempe, and they basically the Tempe City Council gave the thumbs up, said we're gonna do it, or we'll at least explore it, or whatever they said. Did you see any of like the videos of like the plans for this arena?
I did not. Did they make the announcement? Yes. Was it just yesterday?
It might have been a couple days ago, 2 days ago, I think.
Oh yes, you're right. It was at least Friday. That's right. No, I actually have not seen any of it just yet.
It looks awesome.
Oh, okay, good.
It looks like a really cool stadium. I'm not sure if I can. I wonder if I can. I might be able to share this here. Share screen. Yes, this one. Share.
Yeah. Put it
okay.
Right over me.
So it's pretty low quality, and I'm not sure why. It's like a news article, but it's like this big, like sort of, they're trying to do like a little town type of idea with it, right? The inside, they've got like this ring scoreboard that goes inside and outside all the way around.
What?
Which looks absolutely insane. The rest I think is just city council stuff. I might be able to get but it's basically just this big complex, which looks pretty cool, I'll say. So hopefully it works out.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so what was the vote then? That people liked it or they didn't like it?
I think it was just the Tempe City Council. They voted in favor to explore talks into making, I don't know. It's probably going to happen eventually, but I mean, think of how long it's going to take to build that, right? And they have to stay at Arizona State until then, where they have to share the 5,000 seat rink with their college team.
So so that two-sided scoreboard, that looked nuts. Does that mean if you're sitting down below in the first few rows, you can look up and see the inside of it?
You look at the inside
Yeah.
across from you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So basically, wherever you are, you've got like a perfect screen facing you. It's really neat.
And then the upper bowl is basically looking at the outside or the inside of the far side.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know how they'll make it work with the video, but I'm sure they'll just have it over a bunch of times. It'll be fine. Look, it just looked cool though. It looked cool.
Okay. So then the viciousness that Lucas is referring to, I haven't seen any of that, but admittedly I haven't watched any of it. Or I guess people are saying waste of money. I'm guessing that's what they're
No, there's a
saying.
lot of Coyote. There's a lot of people who are like, man, just move to Quebec already. And then all these Coyotes
Okay.
fans are like, oh, we're gonna have a nice arena and all this stuff. And it's just who cares?
Is that how they talk? Like that?
Yeah, I think that's an Arizona accent. Absolutely.
Okay, I have to check it out. That's cool, man. Okay.
Yeah,
What do you
it
think?
looks nice.
What do you think?
I mean, I think the 5,000 seat arena is silly for however many years they're going to do that. But I think when they finally move there, that'll be good. Who knows how many people are going to show up, right? It's in Tempe,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
it has more people. I think it has a bit of a
Yeah.
younger demo as well,
Yeah.
which is good. But I
Wow.
don't know.
Okay.
Would you rather have a team in Quebec City than Arizona? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, the top post on the hockey subreddit for the week, because I'm using it to get topics, is a picture of 15,000 fans in the Quebec City arena for a junior hockey game.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Arizona will be in a 5,000 seat arena,
Yeah.
which is fun.
Wow. That's okay. That's interesting. And we've talked here before how Bettman is very stubborn. Any team moving out of Arizona, but looked at it as a failure on his part. So we know that he's going to fight tooth and nail to keep a team there.
Yeah.
Wow. Fascinating. Okay, I'll check it out. Thanks, man.
All right. What else happened?
Actually, the very first comment right when we started was about Kadri and Kane.
Okay. So what was it? Was it about like, was it bad?
Is one game enough? Is the question.
Yeah. If they lose, it is.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do, because they sort of set a precedent that they can do it last season, where they can suspend someone for the remainder of a series. Right. I don't remember exactly who it happened with, but I remember it happened to somebody where they just said instead of one game or two games, it was the rest of the series. So they can't play again in that round. That would have made sense to me. And I saw The Athletic put out a notification today that said it was like the byline was like the headline was Evander Kane suspended one game, and the byline underneath was Oilers player will miss remainder of series or something like that. Basically just implying that it's over, which I thought was really funny. I think an accident, but it was hilarious.
That is funny. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So yeah, I think, I think it's a play that has happened quite a few times with less punishment. It's a play that has seen fines before. It is a play that has seen minor penalties before. But we're talking about a player that has suspension history, right?
Yeah.
So I think a suspension is fair, and it's the NHL player safety does factor injury in to the sentencing. They don't factor it into the decision on whether they will be suspended. But they can use injury to increase the severity of it. And he is out for at least the series, Kadri.
Yeah.
So maybe that has something to do with it as well. I wouldn't have really been surprised at whatever they did, because
Right.
one of those things where we've seen them do nothing about the same play, basically. But we've also seen them do more about the same play. So it's kind of tricky.
Yeah, Kane's got a reputation, as you talked about, Parker. I truly don't think he was trying to injure Kadri,
Right.
but it wasn't the smartest play either. And yeah, it's 7, 8, 9 feet away from the boards. We know that's the most dangerous thing.
Yeah.
And Kadri even gave the, yeah, you could say, well, maybe you shouldn't put yourself. There's just so many tricky things, but I just hate seeing that kind of thing. And this is, I was actually thinking about it too. And you play hockey at a higher level than I do, or at least I think you do. And then even for us, I know our league is no contact. And I could just see if it was contact, people would be just doing stupid stuff all the time because that's what people do.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that's ingrained into you from when
Yeah.
you first start playing hockey. If you
Yeah.
see numbers, lay up, right? If all that you have, that's why they put stop signs on the back of jerseys in minor hockey, right? If you can
Yeah.
see the person's numbers, you don't hit them, right? And it's the NHL, it's going to be more contact, things like that. But
Yeah.
you can't just, it was like you said, 5-6 feet away from the boards. If you think
Yeah.
about it, if a player's moving towards the boards and they get knocked down, they have no time to stop. If you're 1 foot away from the boards, you go into the wall. If
Yep.
you're 6 feet away from the boards, you go like this into the wall and crumple basically. And there's no way to protect yourself, right? That's how most of these injuries happen. However, it's a play that happens a lot. It's just, this is one that went really poorly. So I think, it's suspension worthy. I think so. And I think it's one of those things that it's one of those plays that you just don't really want to have in the game anymore, right? Those hits 6 feet away from the boards, especially in the numbers when there's nothing a player can do about it to stop it.
Right.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
And this is, I know you're talking, and some people in the chat were saying they actually did that whole suspended for the rest of the series. It was actually Kadri when he played in Toronto. Nice. Is that what people have been saying?
Perfect.
Good. So good pull. That's good, Parker. But this one was a one game. It wasn't rest of the series, right? It's one game technically. It's a one game suspension.
One game.
Yeah. I think
I
think two. Right. Exactly. I think maybe 2 or 3. I wouldn't have had a problem if it was that much, but we'll see. We'll see. How about McKinnon Slewfoot on? Was it Lennon? No, McKinnon on Draisaitl, right?
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
I was just sort of casual. I just had the game on. I wasn't watching it, but I can find a little clip here.
It was right in front of the boards.
Watching. Maybe. I don't know. He's taking a stride, left foot, comes forward to kind of take a stride.
So Draisaitl landed on his shoulder, as you see, but then went out for a bit. But he came back.
It's like quad to hamstring, though, right? It's not like he's kicking his foot out.
Right.
It's his quad going into sort of his lower glute / hamstring that takes him out, which would be a slew foot. I just also think he's mid stride for a puck. I think it might be a slew foot. He might have tried to, but I don't think you can say 100% it was. I'm just looking at it like frame by frame.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe.
And there's one other one. There's Landeskog. Do you see Landeskog hit on Yamamoto? That was like early in the series. That was a good one too.
I didn't.
Yeah, because Landeskog was talking about how he didn't like Kane's hit on Kadri, but then he did this one. So tell me what you think about that one.
Looking at it.
Yeah.
Check to the head. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh boy, this is just some random video. Head down hit is that's it to the head with the shoulder.
I can't remember if he got any supplemental or if it was just
it's close though.
Yeah.
Like it's shoulder and head at the same time. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I can see why they wouldn't do it. I can see why they would.
Yeah.
Again, it's all so up in the air with players.
Playoff hockey. Yeah, it's crazy. Lucas, another donation. Lucas, very generous. Thank you. I did not know that. Griffin Reinhardt is retired. Yeah,
I didn't either. Isn't he like 28 years old?
He's pretty young.
That'd be my guess. He's 28 years old. Wow, what a good guess.
Good guess.
He was playing EIHL. So
okay.
Fair.
And Jack's asking about what Reinhardt. That's Sam Reinhardt. That's a different Reinhardt.
Yes, sure. That is a very different Reinhardt. Very different position and skills. So yeah, Griffin Reinhardt was a 4th overall pick 10 years ago. And he played 37 NHL games. That was the Neil Yakupov draft.
That's a weak top 5.
Yeah, Yakupov, Ryan Murray, Galchenyuk for third overall pick. Galchenyuk's not great. Right? He's fine. Morgan Reilly is the best out of the top 5. He was 5th to Toronto. He's the most points out of them all as a defenseman.
Can you just read the next 5 too?
Lindholm, Dumba, Vancouver Canucks legend Derek Pouliot, Jacob Trouba, and Slater Cuckoo.
So technically, that bottom 5 is better than the top 5, though.
Barely.
Like 6 through 10.
I think 11 makes up for it with Philip Forsberg.
Oh,
but then it's Mikhail Grigorenko, Foxa, Gergensons, Cody Ceci.
What the heck year was this?
2012. Vasilevsky went 19th. Would have been better than Reinhardt for a pick.
Wow.
Yeah.
2012.
That's a tough draft. Brendan Gaunce, 26th overall.
But Pouliot, we didn't draft him, right? He was drafted by a different team. Yeah. So Brendan Gaunce, wow, that was 1 year before Bo. Okay. Yeah, not great.
No, they did draft Ben Hutton that year, though.
Okay. Well, I like Ben. Okay. So we're sitting here, and I know we're just kind of going all over the place, which is fine. That's what we do when there's not a lot of... We knew this was going to happen. We basically got all the way to June 5th before we realized that we didn't have any Canucks stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
So our predictions, which we were pretty close, but I already know that I can't get Tampa in 5. It's physically impossible.
Did I have them in 6?
Yeah, you had Tampa in 6.
Yeah, see, I was remember last episode where I picked Edmonton for the upset because I had to pick one upset, and then I said maybe I should have gone New York over Tampa. And that would have been a smarter pick, even though I still think Tampa wins this series.
Right.
But I do think Edmonton's not going to win this series, so I think I'm done. I think it's over. I had to make a move, and I should have waited till the final. But that's okay.
The Edmonton, you were so bold, Parker, because it wasn't Edmonton in 7; it was Edmonton in 6. Like that was. You've got that.
Well, I figured if it was going to 7, there was no shot Edmonton was winning.
But your Tampa in 6 could still work out, so you gain a point there. We'll see.
We will see.
We will see. Have you been Did you watch tonight's game?
I watched the last 5 minutes. So I was about 2:30, and I was like, and I'd watched a little bit of the first, and I was looking, and I was like, oh, I should see, what's up with the game. And so I go on NHL.com just to check on it, and I look, and it says it's 2-1 with like 49 seconds to go in the second period.
Okay.
And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I thought the game was supposed to start at 12. It's been 2.5 hours. It should be almost over by now, but maybe there's some weird delay or something. I don't know. I'll check it later. And then on Twitter, people are like, oh man, they got to, it's tied at 2 with 3 minutes to go or whatever. I'm like, but the NHL website says it's still the second period. So I tuned in and watched the rest. But they had some issues today.
Yeah. I saw your tweet. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. I was very confused. But no, it was a good game. Palat with a nice little goal to win. I mean, they down 2-0 while being down 2-0 in the series, and then coming back, clawing it out with 3 straight to win it is pretty sweet. And I'm glad. I wouldn't hate it if the Rangers won this series because I don't think we need Tampa to win again. But I would like it to go longer. Yeah. Just because again, I like game 5, 6, 7. Right. I like the excitement that comes from those.
Oh, Parker! I watched the whole thing. This one actually, it was such a good game, and their power plays are so lethal. And these are 2 world-class goalies, and it's natural to look at these teams and say, "How would the Canucks fare?" I think against these 2 teams, they get run out of the rink. I think against Colorado, they get run out of the rink. But I'd like to think that they could hang with Edmonton. But what does hang mean? Edmonton's getting killed by Colorado, so
yeah. It's again, I think the Rangers had a good thing going. I think that Tampa Bay is going to ride this momentum, and they're just gonna run away with this thing. I think you know how many shots the Lightning had tonight?
I remember it was I looked up, it was like 48 at one point.
It was 52. They outshot New York 52-30. They had 52 shots in a 60-minute hockey game. I think they had Yeah, no, that's crazy. It doesn't even. They only had a couple power plays. I think they didn't
Yeah.
have anything crazy. Yeah, they had 2 for 4 in the power play,
Yeah.
but they had 52 shots on goal, and the Rangers had 19 blocks to Tampa Bay's 9. So shot attempts must have been way higher.
Think how many shots Shesterkin has faced this playoffs. Because remember that one against
he's doing okay. People are saying they thought it was 51 out of them. Just looking at what the NHL.com says, it says 52. So
yeah.
yeah. So Shesterkin, I mean, lets in 3 goals and is a 942 save percentage this game.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. By the way, someone Jaskrin asked, imagine if Mott wins the cup. Do you have any sentimental attachment to Tyler Mott?
Oh yeah, it would be great.
Yeah.
But I don't want the Rangers to really win. I'd rather Colorado win.
Right.
If you had to rank the 4 teams and how you in who you would like to win, 1 through 4.
I like.
You have Colorado 1.
Yeah, my favorite teams, it goes Tampa, then Colorado. But who I want to win this season, it's actually Colorado, Tampa, New York,
and then okay.
Edmonton.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do I have the Rangers above Tampa?
And then as you're thinking about that, some people still mad at the Rangers for 94, which is 30 years ago, but when they beat us.
Yeah. And I think it was 30 years ago.
Yep.
It was before I was born.
Yeah.
So
I know.
So it might be blasphemy, but I definitely have the Rangers above Edmonton. I don't know. Dynasties are cool.
Yep.
But I also, I'd like to see, I'd like Colorado's style to be emulated more, right?
Yes. Yeah.
McCarr's just so sick and McKinnon's very good. And that, it would be, I just think Colorado Tampa would just be such a fun series. That I think that's why I have the Rangers lower, is because I just want to see those 2 teams play against each other.
Yeah. I know Justin would agree with you. I'd agree with you. Yeah. There's a lot. Colorado Tampa would be a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Would be neat.
Who'd you? Oh no, I would say who'd you pick, but we'll save that for our show on Monday, I guess.
I might have to pick whoever you don't if I'm still alive. We'll see.
Edmonton in 6 is the best, man.
I had to take a shot.
No, I admire that about you.
My actual pick was Colorado in 5.
You know what we can do tonight? We can actually decide on what our wager is. We haven't done that yet either.
50 cents.
Fine. Fine.
Just because I'm well behind.
Okay, we'll worry about that later.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out.
What do you think of
in the world?
Well, there's these talks about. Did you hear about that guy who might go 2nd overall, saying on a podcast?
Oh yeah,
he was asked if he can play center, and one of the teams he was asked by was the Canucks.
Yeah. Wow, this new management group is asking prospects questions.
Yeah. Oh.
Crazy. Meanwhile, the Habs are asking. Did you see the question the Habs were asking some prospects?
No.
One of them was like, if you were in the bathroom, in a public bathroom, and there was a $10 bill under the toilet seat and a $50 bill in the toilet bowl, which would you take? Or something like that.
What? They actually asked this?
Yeah.
What? This sounds like a grade 4 spiritual retreat dilemma question, not a combine.
Yeah, here. Just now, Callie Odelius said they asked him if he would pick up $10 off the toilet seat or $50 from in the toilet. He chose the 50.
Wow. So obviously they're looking more on how you answer as opposed to what you answer. That's what everyone does in an interview, but still, it is kind of funny. That's so weird, man.
Lego says take both and then wash them because we're in Canada. These plastic bills. Yeah. And you just wash your hands after. Right? If it's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just such a dumb question.
Well, thank you, Gio, for the suggestion and for popping in on here as well. That is really funny.
That's terrible. There's so many. You see all those, especially in the NFL, where they ask all these wacky questions, and
Yeah.
I guess now we're getting that here, where
Yeah.
people are. There was one, and they always ask like, "Oh, if you were an animal, what would you be?" And apparently everyone answers lion, and then one kid answered wolf, and everyone's like, "Oh my goodness, he's so ahead of the game." It's like, I don't know, is he?
You know what's funny,
I'd be an
Parker?
eagle.
Because I'm in my current job now for 20 years, I have not actually had a job interview in over 20 years. I've worked in human resources where I've been on this side of the table where I'm doing the interviewing. And even in my current job, I've done some interviewing when they asked me to. That's kind of funny. I've never been through the stress of a job interview recently. So I wonder what it's like
Yeah.
now.
I've
Yeah.
been doing that a bit as well on
Yeah.
the other side of the table at my job, and I'm wondering, should I start stealing these questions just to see where they end up? That toilet one might lose us some candidates, but
I'd rather just put an Oreo in front of them, turn on a camera, leave the room, and basically say, "Don't touch this." And say, "Oh no, that only works for 3-year-old kids. Never mind." But that's that's the kind of interviewing I'm used to, or at least the play interviewing I'm used to. That is so funny. Okay, I'm gonna be on the lookout for more good questions then.
yeah, people are crazy.
Wow. Okay, hey, who's that guy who said that? Is he good? I've never heard of him.
Kelly Odelius.
Gio will
He
know about him.
is
I have no clue.
he is projected around 30 to 40,
Okay.
25 to 40.
Okay.
Could be in the Canucks range if they move up into the second round, because you
Trade
got to
up,
have
trade up.
one pick in every round, because that's the
Trade,
rules.
trade to get him because
I
of that one
guess.
answer.
Yeah, this guy was thinking. He took the 50.
Oh man, I'm thinking now that we touched on Boudreaux for Jack Adams, touched on Bull Horvat getting 1 vote for Selkie. Who's the next Canucks player to actually get a major award winner? Is it Demka Vezina? Is it
The next one?
Yeah, and it could be forever. It could be another 5, 10, 12 years. Who knows?
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, I have no. I don't think anyone's really on the cutting edge here, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Quinn Hughes is winning a Norris anytime soon.
Right. It might be one of the off ice ones, truly, like a Masterton or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Adams, maybe, if they overperform next year. I don't know, because what are the other, Vezina maybe, but again, I just don't I think Demko's like a top 10 goalie.
Mm-hmm.
He'd have to really have a crazy year to be a Vezina candidate, right? Like, he'd have to put up like a 925, which I don't think is, probably in his wheelhouse for a whole year.
Yeah.
What else is there? The Rocket's not going to happen, right?
No.
Unless Pettersson goes absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Hart and Ross probably not without
probably not. They'd have to be the best team in the league, basically, and that's a ways out.
Yeah.
And they have to get 110 points. So
yeah, no, I think it's going to be one of those like leadership or sportsmanship or perseverance ones. Maybe. Oh, by the way, Lego comes through with the scouting report.
Cali, pretty all right, mid-sized Swedish defenseman. If they have, they're interviewing probably for second or one of their late firsts. That makes sense. 25 to 40.
Thank you,
right.
Gio. Yeah, that's very, very good.
Jax is PD for the Selkie. Well, Bergeron has to retire first, and Barkov. Once Bergeron's gone, Barkov will win all of them, and then we'll see.
Jaskrin, Hughes for the Norris, or Demko for Vezina are the likeliest. That's fair.
I just, you look at Makar, and I just don't see Hughes winning a Norris, because Makar is just Hughes, but on steroids.
Yeah,
it's a crazy. He's so good.
And you look at him play on the right side too. Oh,
yeah. And he's gonna score 30 goals, and it's gonna be When he's
like Justin's. Everyone should take the $60 and donate to the Oilers for a new goalie, or to pay towards the Nurse contract.
Yeah, they're a true goalie graveyard. Who's the last good goalie that Edmonton's had?
Bill Ranford? No, I don't know.
They had I guess they had Talbot, didn't they? But he wasn't good when he played for them.
They had Talbot.
Cam Talbot, when he played for Edmonton, he was good. 917, 919, 908, 893. He was better for Calgary than he was for Edmonton.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's got a. They've been the opposite of the Canucks, at least for the last 15 years.
Well, look at all their offensive players they have. It's crazy. It's almost like they feel like they're going to outscore their problems, I guess.
Well, that is really how they're built, and I mean,
Yeah.
you have to think like if they had managed their money better,
Yeah.
especially they've gotten to this point with some pretty poor cap management, right? They've got a bunch of guys making too much money. They got Koskinen making too much money. They have Koskinen and Smith as their goalies. They're paying Darnell Nurse a ton of money. He's fine, but he's not 9.25 fine.
No.
You know, if they were putting that money towards better players, like they might have a real shot here, you know, in this series. They'd probably still get crushed by Colorado, but it would at least be more reasonable. You know, they could have, you know, this just feels like they get so close, and then they had, you know, the Reilly throwing things out there, and now Holland throwing. It's just kind of a mess.
Yep. I think I'm when you look at these four teams, I'm actually not just because they're losing 3-0 to Colorado. I'm just surprised that they got through Calgary. We talked about this last week. I'm surprised they got through Calgary so easily.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was a shock. I thought Calgary was going to run away with that series. But I guess Connor McDavid is pretty good.
He's pretty good.
Good.
He's
and
good.
Draisaitl, I guess.
Yep. They got two good players.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Jack Maloney. By the way, I found my 2017 World Junior magazine, and for the top 31 prospects, Petey was 30.
13.
Muro or Robertson and Makar weren't on the list.
That seems like you have a bad list. Because Makar was definitely a hyped up prospect, right? He went 4th.
Yeah.
So I think whoever wrote that list wasn't doing a great job.
Yeah. But thank you, Jack, for looking that up. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. We got 20 minutes still, guys. Get more topics in. Give us stuff. Give us questions. Give us things to talk about. Any news that you think is interesting. Do you see all this Canada soccer stuff that happened today?
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost went. I almost bought tickets. I was thinking about it, and then I was like, I might have plans Sunday evening.
Yep.
And then I didn't end up going. I didn't end up buying tickets, and now I'm glad I didn't, because it
Well,
was a debacle.
So I'd have sympathy for you, obviously, or any ticket buyer. But what about the people that traveled here from the island or from? Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. So they're hoping they still have another friendly lined up for next week, right?
I think so, the 9th, but I don't think it's here.
Oh, okay.
They're supposed to, it's oh no, it is here against Curacao, which I didn't know was a place. I thought it was a liquor.
I think I ordered some last night. Not the liquor part. Okay. Oh yeah, actually, now we got some really good questions ever since you asked for them.
There we go.
We come back to soccer. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Markstrom versus Yossi. It's not Markstrom. Makar versus Yossi. We got to take Makar now.
Where are you seeing this?
Jasper in 1038.
Oh, Jasper up there. Okay.
Yeah.
Makar versus Yossi. If we're talking Norris this year, I'm taking Yossi.
Right.
If we are talking which player is better, it's Makar.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Sammy Baines, JT Miller for Devils' second overall pick. I was talking about this on my stream. I think that the Canucks would take that every day because they don't think they're going to sign JT Miller. The Devils wouldn't do that unless they have permission to talk. Why would you bring JT Miller over for only 1 year if you don't have a guarantee that he's going to stay here? And I still don't think that's enough, actually. I think I don't. If I was the Devils, I wouldn't make that pick. I wouldn't make that trade, actually.
No, I don't think they would. You know, I don't know. You know, we talked about who the second overall guys might be, I think last week or the week before. But yeah, I don't know why they would. You know, like they're not on the cutting edge of winning.
Yep.
Right. They're not really in the mix. So why would you go and be, you know, why would you go and be adding this piece to basically it's a piece to try to get a team over the hump, right? Especially if you can get them salary retained for a year, right? If you can get them for $3 million for a season.
Yeah.
That's the idea, right? And I don't think the Devils are the team looking for that.
Correct. And would Miller want to resign there in long term?
Yeah, it's New Jersey.
Yeah.
It's
That's
kind of
what I mean.
gross.
I agree. Marjorie, what are your thoughts on BX signing a one-day contract so he can return? Marjorie, we just talked about this at the start of the show tonight.
Obviously.
What's that?
Go back
What
to
I
the
do?
beginning.
Oh,
After the show, we talked about it for a little bit. I think off the bat, like 2 minutes in.
yeah.
But our overall was cool.
Yeah.
That was basically our thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Fangirl saying, how long does Besser have to sign? He has until a week after the draft, I think, to qualify.
Is that it?
I think so. And then, but they're hopefully working on something longer term before that. Either way, he'll get qualified. So he's going to be here next year.
Hopefully get done
Unless
before the
they trade
draft for sure. Start. Oh yeah, you first.
Jed, who is still a Canuck by the end of the season? So do we have to pick one or how many, I guess? So Bo, JT, Besser, or Garland. Which of these 4 players are Vancouver Canucks at the end of next season?
In order of likelihood still here, I'm going Bo, Besser, Garland, Miller. In order of likelihood that they're here. You agree?
Yep. 100%.
So going backwards, Miller, Miller's the one that everyone's talking about. Garland, we've heard that. Did you see that report that Sat said that they were asking for a first rounder for Garland and no takers around the league?
That's scary.
Yeah, the trade deadline.
Kind of surprising. Because he's cost controlled, and he had a bit of a down year. But he's still a 50-point guy. You'd think mid to late, mid first round pick, you think should be pretty gettable. So that's a little scary.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe no one wants to help out Rutherford and Alvin just yet.
Maybe.
Yep. Jester asks, start bench cut Makar, Yossi, Fox.
If it's right now, that order. If it's building a team, Fox is on my bench and Yossi's cut.
I agree with you. Yep.
Edmund says, if it wasn't the Devils, would a team in the top 5 trade for JT Miller at the draft? It has to be a team that it really thinks they're in the mix next year, and most teams that are in the top 10 aren't. So I think JT Miller is the perfect piece for a team that's trying to win that year. Unless they're going to sign him long term, but it's riskier.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's interesting to see if this will happen at the draft or if the Canucks start the season. Because what happens if the Canucks are somehow in first or second place in the Pacific at trade deadline time, and then you could take your risk, and even if you're not going to, you can try and re-sign him. Yeah, or he becomes a rental, and you think that you can still make the playoffs without him and reap some assets. So it's not as simple as, oh man, we got to package him up by the draft. But obviously that's an option. But there's an option here to not do anything, listen to offers, and let him hopefully build up his. There's a scenario here where he resigns. I think that's the least likely, but you never know.
It is possible. It's a scary option, but it is possible for sure.
Yes, I agree.
All right. What else do we got here? Anything else you're seeing that you want to?
Actually, I like Justin's from 1040. Do you think if the Rangers lose out this year, they circle back to Miller? Canucks seeing Hito play could open up talks again. What was interesting about this one, Parker, is while we were watching the game, I was watching with my 2 boys, and Sean, my eldest, knows a bit more about hockey than Jacob. But he basically made the point is just this team even need Miller, right? If the Rangers keep continuing to play, and he kind of basically asked the same thing that Justin just did: is do we know if the Rangers would still be interested, win or lose in this series? Kind of fascinating. Like, where would JT Miller fit on that team? Well, he would upgrade their. Well, I don't know.
I don't know their line. I don't even know how they line.
Yeah, their second line is Vetrano, Zibanejad, and who the heck was their second line?
Right,
Strome?
I'm trying to find the.
Because I think their second line is Zibanejad, Strome, and Vetrano, because their top line is Panarin with Kreider and.
So I'm looking on Daily Faceoff.
Yeah,
which has the line combos. They have it at least from not today's game, but from the previous one.
Yeah,
they had Zibanejad with Kreider and Vetrano.
Yeah,
Strome with Panarin and Kopp. And I mean, maybe
Okay.
Cop is a rental, right? He's a UFA next year.
Yeah. Yes.
So maybe you even slot him in on the wing there.
Mhm.
And then their third line is Hito, Lafreniere, Kako, and then
Yeah,
their
the kid
fourth
line.
line's
Yeah.
Goudreau, Mott, and Reeves.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you go second line with Strome and Panarin, and just he'll take the faceoffs and play the
Mhm.
wing or center or do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they definitely have room for him. You'll make
Yeah.
room if you have to.
Yeah, it's a good point too about the second part of Justin's question too about Hito, because Hito's been awesome this playoffs.
Yeah,
I didn't know anything about him, honestly. I didn't even know how to say his name. Well, that goes for 50% of the league for me. So
that is fair. Yeah, he's got 9 points this playoff, 7 goals, 17 games. That's not bad.
yeah, good for him.
He's
Sammy
only
also saying
22.
Strome is also a UFA. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, see, all
Yeah.
these people know all these contracts better than
Yeah,
I do.
he's
For
only
sure.
22. That's crazy. I thought he was older.
Yep. Indeed.
Is crazy. What else do we get? Oh, my thing just totally skipped.
Jack's funny. He says he was talking about that list that he was reading about Makar and stuff. He goes,
Hmm.
"Yeah, it's a Hockey Canada list. It had Patrick first, Liljegren second. Makar wasn't on the list. PD was 13th. Interesting.
Weird.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Very weird.
Peter says
Scrolling.
at 10:40, forget the assets. Which team do you guys predict Miller will get traded to? Okay, if we're not talking about the assets, which is kind of hard to separate, I agree with you, Parker, that he'll want to go to a contender. A contender will be more likely to try and get him. I don't know. Something screams to me like East Coast United
Yeah.
States to me, right?
And I wonder if that's just because that's where he played before.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of what we envision.
New
I mean,
York, Boston, Buffalo. Yeah.
I'm thinking, what if
Buffalo.
Colorado loses in the finals? Right? Do they go
Oh,
all in on, right? Say Miller 50% retained for the 1 year,
yeah.
right? I would think about it if I were them, right? That would be a nice 3C basically.
Yeah.
Or first line winger or whatever you want to do. I think I think any basically top 6 team is your target, right?
Yeah.
That's what you should be. That's who you should be trying to sell Miller to.
Yep.
Just whether or not that'll work or not. And what you got to try to do is try to get a bidding war going, which can be a little tricky.
True. Do you want to try and give the 1-minute version, close notes version of Canada Soccer for Matt?
Yeah, basically they were supposed to play Iran, and then there was a bunch of politics involved because I guess there was like an Iranian missile that shot down a Canadian plane like years ago. And so Canada Soccer was like, okay, maybe we shouldn't play against Iran. Let's play against Panama. And then they've apparently been trying to work out a new deal with the players, and the players have been trying for months, and they didn't talk to them until about 2 days ago. And the players said, well, we're not playing then. And Canada Soccer didn't put out any statement until like the game was supposed to start. It was just a disaster. But basically, players are saying, hey, if you're only going to pay us 10% of the revenue that we're bringing in from the World Cup, that's not good enough, which I think is kind of fair.
Yeah, they want more. They want more for sure,
Yeah.
but not a
It's
greedy more. They want
unfortunate.
what?
Yeah. It's an unfortunate circumstance, but we'll see where that goes.
Sure. Thank you. Good explanation. Marjorie at 10:41. Thoughts on Jet Wu? Yeah, we've talked about him before. I think he's still 2 or 3 years away. It would be great if he would. It would be great if he developed into a solid third pairing right shot D man, someone you can pay cheap, get some more skilled guys in the top 2 side. But as we joked about last week, he was playing forward for the Pittsburgh Canucks in their playoff games. So got to get him back on track.
Yeah, I think he's had a rough transition to the AHL, right? We're talking about a guy who, when they drafted him, he had, he was sort of an offensive-ish, tough defenseman, right? He had 25 points in 44 games, and he got drafted. He went up to 66 points in 62 games. Got traded to Calgary in the WHL, went way down in points, had 20 fewer points the next year. And then the AHL, I mean, he only has 13 points in these 70 games he's played in the AHL.
Wow.
Which isn't terrible for a defenseman, but he was, you need to excel in the AHL, right? If you're going to be moving up. He's in the plus column both years. But again, from what I've heard, he hasn't been like excellent or anything.
Yeah.
So hopefully he can take the next step. But keep in mind, he was an early second round pick. Those don't
Yeah.
pan out all the time, right?
Right.
Um, you look at some of the players picked around him that most of them haven't played in the NHL, right?
Yes.
Romanov has for Montreal. But most players picked in the second round don't play a lot, right? If I'll pick a random draft here, we'll go early second round. You get names like Jace Howerluck, Ivan Barbashev, um, Marcus Pettersson, who's good, I guess, but
Yeah.
not crazy.
Yeah.
And a bunch of guys who have played 30 games, 60 games, 20 games, 0, 0, 0, 0, 170, 0, 10, 0, 3,
Who's
0,
the
right? Like
170?
Abe Kubel.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, like you're kind of you're trying to get lucky, right? When you're picking
Yeah.
that early, they're
Yeah.
not all going to hit.
Yep. He was drafted the same year as Quinn Hughes, so it was the vaunted Hughes Woo combination that we thought we
Yes.
could go left, right, D. Lucas 1042. No Luongo cap recapture penalty. How could this affect free agency? Well, you got to remember a couple of things, Lucas and everyone. We still have 2 dead cap. We have Holtby for 1.9 and Jake Virtanen for 500 grand. That's 2.4.
And
So it's
Halak.
and Halak's bonus. So that's basically what more or less what we pay Luongo's cap recapture penalty. The Canucks will have to get rid of a mid or big contract to be anywhere active in free agency. They simply do not have enough money right now to work around the margins. So, we keep saying this, but it'll be a fascinating offseason for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
They are in pretty tough there.
Yes, absolutely. Peter, thoughts on Shannon? No, PD will be part of the Canucks. He has 2 more years on his contract. Then we're going to sign him to another big one. Peter, thoughts on Quinn this past season, particularly on the defensive end? He was a minus 24 a lot 2 seasons ago, and then he moved to plus 10. He was better in all facets. Wouldn't you say, Parker?
So much better. He was so much better. He had a bad year.
Yes.
That previous year. I mean, everyone did that. That 56 game season was just a train wreck. And then he just got way better, and that's what he said he worked on. He wanted to get better in his defensive game, and he looked a lot more like he did in his rookie season. He's way better, way better. No,
and he'll only get better. Absolutely.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's the Edmund says, is this the thing we overvalue most players? Yes, every market overvalues their own players, especially the Vancouver Canucks. I remember before Virtanen's discretions, we were talking about what we could get for him or what we could get for this guy or that guy. But that's what you do because you get attached to players. You want to think that they're perceived well across the league. It helps you with what you get back, and it never works out that way.
Pretty much. Yeah. That is fair.
Yeah, for sure. What else you got?
Let's see here. Karen says, do you think this next season will be one of the most exciting this team has had in a while? I feel like the vibe out of the gate is going to be super positive in the arena. It's going to be on a knife's edge. I think if they lose the first 3 games of the season, you're going to see a bit of stress. I think if they start the season winning 3 games in a row, I think people are going to be buzzing and excited. Because I mean, it's really unpredictable, right? We saw 2 different teams this year. Truly, right? We saw the team in the first 27 games of the year, and then the team in the last 55 games of the year. With a little hint of the first 20 something games near the end there at one point for a couple weeks. So it really depends what team comes out. If the team that was basically 13th best in the league comes out and the team's winning, 3 out of every 5 games or at least getting some extra points out of things like that, then I think there's going to be some buzz, which I really hope. I just hope for some excitement for sure.
I agree with you. And Corinne, I think that's a great question because I actually think if you go back and watch the bubble highlights, remember that was only 2 seasons ago. Those were some fun games against Minnesota, St. Louis, and Vegas. And
especially
that
the Minnesota
team,
ones.
Yeah, that
those.
team I would say was quite exciting because you had PD playing very well. Hughes, Miller, Toffoli was helping out on offense. Bo, and then Demko and Markstrom. Goaltender is hard to be exciting, but I thought Demko was pretty exciting against Vegas. So overall, I hear what you're saying, Corinne. I definitely think from a general standpoint, starting the season, there should be some optimism for sure. But I do think that the bubble team, just watching the highlights once in a while, that was a pretty exciting time. And you just didn't feel it because there's no one in the stands to cheer them. But I was pretty excited watching from home. I remember that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Edmund says the Avs are similar to Canucks, where they had a couple of down years and eventually became consistent. Here's the issue. There's a lot of teams that have these down years, and there's not a lot of teams that come out of them looking like the Avalanche do, right? Because if you look at the standings right now, and I'll pull up the standings from this season here. The other teams sort of in the mix with the Canucks are teams like Winnipeg, right? I mean, Winnipeg has sort of always been around this level, right? They had a couple great years, a couple bad ones, but they've sort of just been stuck here, right?
Yep.
The New York Islanders, similar boat. They had 1 or 2 great years under Trotz, and they sort of fell off. They had a bunch of road games this year, but teams like Columbus, right? San Jose, Nashville, there's a lot of teams that hover around the middle, right? Minnesota is a good example as well. They did really good this year, but they've been absolutely mediocre for 18 years, right? Their entire existence, basically. So, it's a scary blueprint, but maybe, I guess.
Yeah. The Avs, how many years ago, Parker, they were horrible. It was like a 40 or 50 point season. It was so bad.
Long ago. Yeah, I was in BCIT still.
And while you look that up, I remember this because it was my season ticket holder perk was to go to a press conference. So I got to see Willie D. It was a Willie D year, right? Was it 20?
It was 2016-17 that they had 48 points.
Okay, so that was a Willie D year for sure then. So what happened was I saw Bednar being interviewed in the hallway, and I didn't know a thing about this guy. I just knew Colorado sucked. I was like, there's no way this guy lasts past this season, and look at them now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was his first season coaching the team, right?
Yeah.
I think what's the year that Sakic came in?
Good. That's a really good question.
I can find this really fast here. Okay. Post-playing career. The 2013, end of 2013. So 2013-14 was basically when he took over. And he hired Bednar in 2016.
Yep.
And he's gone from 48 points. They had 95 the next year. They doubled up. All right. And then 90, 92, and then 80, 92 points in the shortened season, the 70-game season, 82 points in the 56-game season. So a 732 points percentage. And this last year they won 56 games, so a 726 point percentage. Yeah, they took off.
Wow.
Which is rare. It's not the norm.
No, not at all. Okay. Might be a while till we get to their level for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus at 1057 says, do you think the Canucks sign Philip Forsberg? Or, I've talked about this one before, Marcus.
I think we talked about it last week a little bit.
Yeah, Forsberg's, I take him in every single fantasy league that I'm in. I would like him a lot. How old is he going to turn?
29, 30.
Well, that's it?
I think so. He's a 94.
27.
Yeah, he's 94 birthday. He turns 28 this season. Before this season.
Oh, $6 million though this year.
Yeah, but you trade Miller, and then you get all the assets, and then you use the money you would have spent on Miller on Forsberg, and then you're win-win.
2 years younger than Miller,
unless Forsberg falls off and becomes a liability, which is possible. Right. But I mean, he's been a point a game basically. He's been under a point a game for most of his career, but this year he had a really good year.
84, right? 84 and 62 or something. Yeah. Yeah, I like him. I'd take him. Other UFAs, I don't know. I keep saying that the Canucks need to beef up their D. I see guys like Klingberg and Manson around the late 20s age. I don't know. Yeah.
Forsberg will be expensive, though. Remember, guys scored 42 goals this year, 84 points in 70 games. That is that will be a premium asset.
Yes, I agree.
What, 8-9 million, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. We should still get him.
Philip Forsberg contract projection. What are the people saying? Eight and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
His asking
Good to
price
know.
could be over 8.5 million on a 7 or 8 year extension. The Predators do have room. They have 26 million in projected cap space.
Oh, wow.
But they already are spending 8 million on Johansson and Duchesne each. So I don't know.
Okay. That's good to
I
know.
don't know.
Let's get Pretty Girl Shannon right after that. So I have a question as when a team is over the cap and need to make changes so they can get players they want, how do they know who to let go or trade? Shannon, a great question. The easiest answer is there's many factors. In essence, you're looking at the contract at the player, his age, his ability, and you're saying to yourself, does it make sense that we're paying this guy this much? And when this contract ends, how much are we going to pay him on the next one? So it's not simple who makes the most, who's the best look, no, who plays with who. They actually look at these decisions in a very, very comprehensive way to say, okay, if we're going to trade for this guy, what other guys do we want him playing with? So it's chemistry, it's contract, it's future productivity. It's a bunch of things. It's not as simple as saying lopping off this guy because he had a bad year kind of thing.
It's all about value, right?
Yes.
That's what I always try to say is, in a salary cap league where everyone has the same money to spend, whoever spends their money the best has the best team, right?
Yes. Great point.
That's really how it works.
And that's what the Sedins said when they got hired last year. They said you have to outplay your contract.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everyone's got it. And that's, that's sort of what the Gills regime tried to do, right? They had basically said, hey, we've got this position makes this number, right? Our second line left wing should be making 3.7 million. This is what we think you are. This is what we want to pay you. And that's just how they had everything structured. Obviously it's not a perfect system, but if it works, it can be very successful, ideally.
Great point. Very good.
All right. It's 11. We somehow worked our way through this. I think we did an excellent job. Folks, thank you guys very much for joining. Next Monday, we're back on Monday next Monday, or are you
Sounds
gone
right.
Monday?
No, I'm good.
You're gone
the Monday
following
the 13th, I'm still here. Then the 2 Mondays after that, I'm not. So we can figure something out.
We'll
I did
something
figure out
by
what the
next
time
Monday.
change. Yeah, I did some research, Parker. On the 20th and 27th, we will talk about this before next Monday, so we can announce. It's not a bad wake up call for me in Sweden if we went live, but we'll talk about that later.
All right, and I'll get your Swedish accent. On film here. We'll get that worked out.
I'll be ready.
Awesome. All right, Clay, any parting words for this evening?
Well, thanks to everyone here and you, Parker, for accommodating my bit of a weird schedule for the start of this week. Shannon, happy birthday. Lucas, thank you for the donations. And for all of us, just continue to enjoy this hockey. It is some pretty good hockey. This Rangers Lightning game today was amazing. No matter who you're going for in Colorado, Edmonton, it's still actually been pretty intense games. And let's hope there aren't major injuries. So whoever winds up in the finals starting next week, that we're going to see two relatively as healthy as you can be teams going for the Stanley Cup. So overall, enjoy and look at these as prototypes for what the Canucks need to get to. And we don't make ourselves sad by doing it. We just be realistic and say, look at the quality of these teams. That's how I'm kind of watching these games right now.
And enjoy the continued rain, most likely, for the next week. June, everybody. Thank you guys very much for hanging out. If you missed any part of the show, you can rewind back to the beginning. You can catch up on your favorite podcast platform after this as well. Make sure you're subscribed, hit like, do all that good stuff. Get those likes up before you guys leave. That would be very nice. There's only 24. Hit the button, do it. I think that's all we've got. We'll be back next Monday, the 13th of June at our normal time, 10 p.m. We'll figure out the rest after. Hopefully we have some more stuff to talk about. Should be basically gearing up for the Stanley Cup Finals by then, which will be exciting and fun. So everyone, hope you have a good night, and we will talk to you next time.